James Dean. On September 30th, 1955, Hollywood's brightest rising star, James Dean, set out on a drive that would define his legacy forever. He was just 24 years old, wild, magnetic, and already a legend for his roles in Rebel Without a Cause and East of Eden. But off-screen, Dean lived for something even faster than fame: speed. That afternoon, he got behind the wheel of his brand-new Porsche 550 Spyder, a silver racing machine he nicknamed Little Bastard. He was heading to a race in Salinas, California, with his mechanic Rolf Witherich. Around 5:45 p.m., on a lonely stretch of Highway 46, a Ford Tudor suddenly turned left across the road directly into Dean's path. Traveling at nearly 85 miles per hour, Dean had no time to react. The Porsche slammed into the Ford almost head-on. The tiny car crumpled instantly, twisting into a heap of metal. Witnesses rushed over the crash was horrific. The mechanic was thrown from the car, screaming in pain. James Dean was trapped in the wreck, his neck broken, his pulse fading fast. Within minutes, he was gone. The news spread like wildfire. The man who once said, "Dream as if you'll live forever, live as if you'll die today," met his fate on the open road, becoming immortal not through life, but through the speed that destroyed him. Roland Ratzenberger. On April 30th, 1994, the world of motorsport faced a tragedy so brutal that it nearly brought Formula One to a stop. Roland Ratzenberger, a 33-year-old Austrian driver chasing his dream, was preparing for what should have been the biggest race of his life, the San Marino Grand Prix at Imola, Italy. Ratzenberger wasn't a superstar, he wasn't famous, but that weekend he was determined to prove himself. During the qualifying session, his car, a purple Simtek Ford, brushed the track's edge and slightly damaged the front wing. He believed it was minor and pushed on, wanting to make one more flying lap. Moments later, traveling at over 190 miles per hour, the damaged front wing suddenly snapped off. In an instant, his car lost all downforce, no control, no grip, no chance. The vehicle hurtled straight into a concrete wall, hitting with a force so violent that the chassis shattered into pieces. The impact fractured his skull and broke his neck instantly. At first, officials thought it was another crash, dangerous but survivable. But when the medics arrived, they found Roland motionless, his helmet cracked, his body lifeless. Despite desperate attempts to revive him, he was pronounced dead shortly after. The news sent shockwaves through the paddock. Roland Ratzenberger's death became a tragic footnote, overshadowed by the legend who followed him. But it was his crash that changed Formula One forever. The safety reforms that saved countless lives, the stronger cockpits, better helmets, redesigned tracks, all began because of him. He came to prove himself on the biggest stage, and though the world barely remembers his name, his death became the reason so many others lived to race again. Lisa Left Eye Lopes. On April 25, 2002, the music world lost one of its brightest and most unpredictable stars, Lisa Left Eye Lopes, the fiery heart of the R&B group TLC. She was 30 years old, full of energy, creativity, and searching for peace in her chaotic life. That spring, Lisa had traveled to Honduras seeking spiritual healing and a fresh start. She was filming a documentary about her journey, talking about fate, life, and the strange feeling that something was following her. In the days before her death, she spoke about being haunted by the thought that a shadow of death was near. On that fateful afternoon, Lisa was driving a Mitsubishi Montero SUV down a narrow road with several friends and family members. The camera was rolling. The road curved sharply, too fast, too narrow, and the SUV's front tire slipped off the pavement. In a desperate attempt to correct it, Lisa oversteered. The car swerved violently across the road, flipped several times, and landed in a ditch. The crash was instant and brutal. Passengers screamed as dust and glass filled the air. When the wreck finally stopped, everyone was dazed, except Lisa. She had been thrown from the vehicle through the windshield. When rescuers arrived, they found her lying on the ground, motionless. She was the only one who didn't survive. The camera that had been filming recorded the entire journey, right up until the moment of impact. The footage would later show her laughing just seconds before the crash, her voice calm and full of life, unaware that her final words would soon echo in silence. Lisa Lopes's death was one of the most haunting in music history, not because of fame or speed, but because it felt almost foreseen. The artist who spent her last days searching for meaning ended her story on a quiet road in Honduras, leaving behind a mystery, a legacy, and a voice that the world still misses.